Hello, good morning everybody, and welcome to the latest in our series of webinars. My name is Scott Partington. I'm one of the directors here at GMG. Welcome to the members of Golf Management Group and also to the members of the LTA Buying Group who are in attendance today. The topic for today's webinar is energy and will be hosted by the GMG Energy Club. We'll have contributions from James Heald, who heads up the internal brokers at the GMG Energy Club, and also contributions from our new partners, Project Better Energy. Gavin will be advising on all aspects of electric vehicle charging, and Kevin will be giving you some information on terms of what's best solution in the marketplace for solar PV installations. There will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the webinar, so if you'd like to use the chat function, please feel free to do so.
I'm now going to hand you over to Gavin from our partners, Project Better Energy. Gavin heads up the electric vehicle charging side for the company, and this is obviously a hot topic at any sites with a car park at the moment. We've spent the last 12 months doing our due diligence on electric vehicle charging. As there's obviously a number of companies who I'm sure you've spoken to, have heard from, had emails from, that are looking at a space in the market. And we really feel we've identified the perfect partner with Project Better Energy. A little later on, after we've heard from Gavin, you'll also hear from his colleague, Kevin, who heads up the solar division within their company. So we really feel this is an end-to-end turnkey solution for clubs looking to future-proof your energy supply. So Gavin, I'll hand over to you at this point.
Perfect. Thank you, Tim. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I'm going to be presenting a couple of slides to you all on the future of EV charging and what it actually means to the club and an estimated potential payback over a period of time. I'm going to be sharing my screen now shortly. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Perfect. So from club members, everybody's going electric, as you are fully aware. The UK government has officially confirmed the ban of sales of new petrol and diesel cars in 2030, resulting in a demand for EV charging dramatically increasing. The infrastructure is growing at the same pace with more accessibilities to charge points across the UK. So straight away, so there's in regards to the infrastructure that's in place in the UK, over 26,500, and this has been recorded in October 2021. There's an increase in 600,000 total plug-in cars registered in the UK in August 2021. There's a significant increase of 66% of growth of electric vehicles registered in August 2021, which is an upscale in the UK since 2019. So to reduce the club's carbon emissions, it's just basically taking the initiative to save the planet by supporting clean green energy and reducing your club's carbon footprint. So what does this actually mean for the club? So generating carbon credits. So for those who are unaware of carbon credits, it's basically a carbon credit represents the right to emit a measured amount of green gases. The main goal for the creation of carbon credit is the reduction of emissions of carbon dioxide and the greenhouse gases from industries' activities to reduce the effects of global warming. Part of the carbon credit, it actually represents the right to be transferred from club members to your own club, as well as allowing them to help assist your sustainability. And also from supporting your members and visitors. So for those who's already done the transition change into an electric vehicle, so turning up to your club facilities, they have the capabilities of charging that. And at the same time, the club can actually create a sustainable income stream and actually generate revenue and official payback over a period of time. You can reduce your CO2 and help save the planet, as well as receive an ethical and clean reputation. By working for Project EV, we're actually the manufacturer of the chargers. We literally do chargers from 7 kilowatt all the way up to a 300 kilowatt rapid charger, as called as a DC unit. On this section here, I've only selected a few items tailored to the clubs. Typical example will be a 7 kilowatt or a 22 joule charger. which is mainly known as a fast AC chargers. So club members who are staying for a longer period of time, like 4 hours or more, will typically use this charger. Moving over to a rapid DC charger, this is more a quicker turnaround. So for club members who are staying for 2 hours or even more or less, they can have a quicker charge, and you can have the facilities for that to accommodate. We go one step further in regards to, we can actually design your own logo, your own colors, your own themes, and all branding. So from the club's point of view, if you literally wanted a partial branding or a full wrap solution, we can actually do that and cater for that for you. From a generate a sustainable income EV payment solution, so Project EV, we have a back office system which is called the Pro app. And what that actually does is a smart charge management. So what it allows members to actually pay for their EV charging via the smart app, and it's controlled at your charger facilities. The club can generate revenues and expenses on analysis daily, monthly, and yearly, and also opportunities to run promotional offerings and redeem club vouchers. So a typical example, if the club is offering any promotions, anything out there, we can actually tailor that and actually promote this on the actual back office system for them. Creating a multiple tariffs, having a set rate for club members and a separate tariff for non-members. This is brilliant. So what you can actually do, you can tailor the different tariffs. So an example, if you offer a facility like a hotel facility or restaurants, and people wanted to use that facility and charge their vehicle, you can set different tariffs for that, and we can accommodate that for you. Moving over to the typical costing and how the club can benefit. We've used an estimated costing over a 25-year period on utilisation. We're very conscious on how we actually utilise it, so we based it on a 5% over the years, or 10%, which the charger will be used. Estimated maximum daily usage of this is 12 hours, and are projected to break even within 5 years on a typical install from a 2 to 7 kilowatt dual floor mounted units. And a projected return over 25 years, you're looking around about £23,500. Same concept again, moving over to a 222 kilowatt, which is slightly faster than a 7 kilowatt. Same concept again, estimated maximum daily usage of 12 hours. You're projected to break even within 5 years, but you can see the significant revenue that can be generated from this is over 188,000. We've assumed the electricity rate of 35 pence per kilowatt, which is used on your typical, as you would see on the public service stations, the likes of like InstaVolt, Fastned, as well as BP Chargemaster. They usually typically charge around about that same. So obviously identifying the market and obviously the location in your geographic area, we can actually tailor that to however you find feasible. And lastly, moving over to the last slide, is method to purchase. We've streamlined it, so free options here available. So if you have the funds available, you can actually buy outright. The second option is which is the common, is the lease to buy option, where you can lease the EV chargers for 5 years and then own them after the 5-year period. A typical example is if you want to spread it over 5 years, there's no upfront cost, and you just pay your monthly figures every single month till the end. And lastly, the funding model, which you can have a funder, or we can actually provide a funder for you who would install fully and take care of the full project management of that. And all you would do is get the percentage of any revenue generated from that. Perfect. That's the end of the presentation. I'll be passing you back to Tim, but as I said, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have at the end of the presentations.
Thanks, Gavin. I've seen there's obviously a few questions that have come through already, which is great. I'm hoping we might have answered a couple in that, but we will come back to it at the end. We did have, I should say, sorry, we did have a few questions emailed through in advance of the webinar. I've posted one of the emails that we've had in the chat box that you'll see, so we will come to that. I did have a couple of other emails which I felt were a little bit more site specific. I can't remember who they were from, I'm sorry, but we will come back to them shortly afterwards. I'm now going to pass over to Kevin of Project Better Energy. And Kevin is going to talk to us about solar energy, which is obviously something that has been part of the golfing, the sports club world for a while. But I think it certainly had quite the renaissance, considering the current market. So Kevin, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'll just share my screen. So get into this. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Is that right? Yeah, we can. Okay, perfect. Project Better Energy. I think I'd rather go a little bit more personal with this, really. I've been in the industry 12 years. Renewable energy degree, came into the business right at the start. Turned one of the companies into one of the largest solar companies in the UK, and moved to Project Better Energy, which is a group company now, and Project TV is hand in hand with that on the growth of the company. This year we're looking to turn over some in the region of £75 million, just to give you an idea. My name's on government contracts for designing of solar systems, large government contract with the UK AEA, that's the Atomic Energy Authority, etc. Government buildings, hospitals, schools, and soon to be Manchester Airport as well. So that's my sort of background and knowledge in the industry, whereby sometimes architects don't quite understand it, and the building construction area are having to learn very quickly on what they can do, what they can't do, what they have to do, which is part of the carbon credits process from the DEIS of the government. The infrastructure I have to understand, and the path the government want to go down. For you as individual, though, so far I think I've quoted 10 of your sites across all your members. Everyone's been absolutely brilliant. I've requested information, everyone's been very forthcoming. I can design a system desktop, doesn't take up too much of your time, and I can actually go out, and I've visited 5 of the sites so far to go to the next stage, so they can get something concrete down. Again, we have the finance options as well, to be compatible. And the good thing about coming to Project Better Energy is because we work as part of our group, Project TV is part of that. Everything's compatible that we install. So the solar works hand in hand with the EV. There's balance protection for your business. There's balance protection across your sites. Therefore, the priority is for your business to operate correctly. And the EV charging is a secondary source for that, because that's a secondary priority. It's also useful with the EV side to charge all your vehicles, whether it's maintenance vehicles, etc., which I am looking at Royal Lytham with in a close way. I've visited a more sensitive site, which is Mere Golf and Country Club, which one or two of you know, as part of a listed building. So again, it's on an individual basis that I'll design the system to make sure you get the best advantage from the solar and keep all the planning authorities happy, etc. While we're in that process. Plus, consult with your members of where you'd like to see solar panels, etc., which seems to be quite a sensitive subject with some of the members, etc. So the beauty of our solar panels are we've got that company, Project Solar. We own Project Solar. We own Zanussi Solar, Project TV. We do infrared heating as well as part of the group, and social energy, which is in the central there, on the central part. We can actually grid trade battery power directly onto the grids, which will become very prevalent in the future on small and very large scale businesses. If you're looking to improve your carbon footprint, solar is the queen of renewable energy, very low maintenance, 30-year build warranties on our panels now. Now that's absolutely unheard of in the whole industry. You'll not get a 30-year build warranty on a panel. We have them manufactured, we know the standard that they come in at. The inverters come with 10-year build warranties, and on your buildings you will have a 10-year building warranty for damage to roof, etc. So we're fully protected, and we can't give you anything longer than that, because if they build a new house, they only ever give you 10 years NHBC on it. So we can't surpass 10 years, unfortunately. These are the companies that we work for, and this is our process. So we consult, we work out the feasibility, I design it, we assemble all the parts that you require, we install it, we make sure the grid applications are all happy, and then we can offer a maintenance package as well to make sure that nothing goes wrong when you concentrate on managing your clubs, and we concentrate on looking after your solar side. Where we are, solar PV, commercial EV charging, solar carports, battery storage, and unlocking grid trade capabilities. I can talk to you more in depth if people are interested in that side of it. But to offset your bills, solar is the easiest and quickest and the cheapest form of energy reduction, and that's been proven right throughout the whole of the UK. We can come across any sort of scenario that you can think of. I'm working with equestrian centres, the tennis centres, etc., with unusual spaces, unusual roofs. So, you know, give us a challenge and we'll try and solve it for you, which is probably one of our mottos. We can do in-roof if you want. If you're doing new build, there's a perk cell which gets the best out of low light conditions. So our panels win awards in the UK for the low light conditions. So everyone says, you know, it's never perfect. And we're in Manchester, and we probably sell more solar systems in Manchester, which have the worst solar light score than anywhere in the UK. So just to give you a little bit of a pep on that. The performance of the solar panels, we monitor it. You can monitor it as well. If you've got any issues, you let us know. It's pretty straightforward. Degradation on that panel in performance is only 20% over 30 years. Now, I'm sure out there, everyone will be happy if in 30 years we're all operating about 20% less of our capacity as humans. So that's pretty close. I don't need to say anything more about an in-roof tile as well. That replaces your roof. You don't buy roof tiles. It goes straight into your property. There is a new film if you've got a very sensitive area, lightweight, which is in test at the minute with the UK authorities down at Warwick University, which is the expertise. So we will be producing a film which will be allowed into the marketplace. Slightly less warranties on that one, just because it's a brand new product, and you have to go off what the UK authorities say is permissible on that. But it may be a solution for one or two of the sensitive areas that clubs going forward. Tego optimizes panels. This is an optimizer which in low light conditions or shady conditions, I've noticed I normally hit one or two trees on your golf courses. So I'm sure there's one or two trees on your course, which may cause a little bit of shading. So we can combat that type. And there's a full monitoring system with the Tegos as well. So you can see what your solar system's doing, so you don't have to worry about it. Battery storage will become more and more in your life, not just in cars, in your homes and at your businesses. And we offer multiple solutions. At the minute, I'm applying to the grid for 24 megawatt batteries over separate sites across the UK. So from large, small scales, give us the problem, we'll try and solve it for you. And that's something we could do as well. And maybe look at offering members of your clubs as well an opportunity to come on board with Project Solar and Zanussi Solar as well at the residential side. So we offer a full service, off-grid, on-grid, large scale, small scale, whatever you want. And then we can also grid trade your power as well, which will become more and more prevalent going forward in the future. You don't have to use social energy. It's just that we've had to prove it with a company. So I've got 10,000 batteries trading on the grid daily when they're on your courses or when they're out at work. So it is possible to gain a revenue from a battery stored power. Solar systems operate through daylight, but there is other solutions out there. We can solve most of them and give you the best platform to go forward. I'm sure you've got lots of questions regarding that side of it, but thanks for your time.
Thanks, Kevin. I guess at this stage we've got a few questions that have popped up. So we've heard from James, Gavin, and Kevin. So thanks to you all. I'll start going through the questions, and as I said, do keep them coming, because if we don't get round to answering them, we will do in an email afterwards in the next day or two. And now the first one we've got is an email that came through to us beforehand. Question 1, please clarify how the club can generate revenue from EV charging being installed. That's to you, Gavin. We've covered that a bit in your presentation since, obviously.
Yeah, straight away. So what we will do, so once the chargers are installed, we will set you up on our Pro App system. And what is basically the back office system, and what it does, it allows you to generate the revenue from there. So a typical example, let's just say you had 2 chargers, meaning 2 bays that is utilized. That would obviously be 4 charging outlets. So it will be £3.75 plus VAT per month. And what that does, it allows you to generate the revenue back office reporting from that. And each month it will just come into a database, and every month you will just get the revenue from that. All we take is a 10% revenue to obviously cover our costs internally to manage that. And we will just send the revenue back each month to yourselves.
Perfect. And the next one, can the site survey take place before we actually agree to proceed?
Yeah, totally. So from my point of view, so anyone interested, what first initial will be a consultation. What I usually do is ideally identify like a remote site survey rather than a physical site survey. But if it's not feasible, then definitely we can come out there and assess it's all good putting the charger, but you need to know what the supply and the capabilities, any supply constraints. So we can do that for you, no problem. And we can cover the whole UK.
Okay. And then clarification on no upfront management fee until residents' charge points installed. What is the management fee?
With the management fee, so anything less than 4 chargers, there's no setup cost. Usually it's £500. But obviously there's discretion on there. But as I said, once the charger is installed, there's no management fee in regards to setting up the back office system. However, each monthly there will be a cost, which is £3.75 per month plus VAT.
Okay. And then how quickly, a broad question on this one, I think, how quickly can a car be charged?
Yeah, good question. The most important thing is every car is different in regards to a battery and inverter. So therefore, if it's a 7 kilowatt or a 22 kilowatt or 40 kilowatt charger, it all depends on the battery and inverter, and that will determine the charging cabling times for that particular vehicle, but they vary.
Okay.
So what I would say is from a 7 kilowatt, the maximum charging time is around about 6 to 8 hours. A 22 is about 4 to 6. A 40 kilowatt, you're looking around about 2 hours.
Okay. Perfect. And then we've got one from Margaret here, which is it's quite specific to the site, but you might be able to answer this one anyway, Gavin. We don't have private parking. Do you have any suggestions for how to provide EV charging on the adjacent public road?
Yeah, first of all, we need to find out from that adjacent to that public road who actually owns it, if it's a contractor, or we just need to find even planning permissions to find out if there's any accessibilities to run the EV chargers and if they got the supply leading to wherever that public road is.
Okay, thank you. And how much do the EV chargers cost?
So a 7 kilowatt dual charger, you're looking ballpark figure around about £1,600 to £1,700. That's with a dual outlet, so covering 2 bays. And then if you go for a 22 kilowatt, same thing again, dual 2 bays, you're looking around about £1,900. So both of those chargers, you're looking just like less than £2,000. And then if you're looking for the 40 kilowatt, which is obviously the most, which is a DC rapid chargers, you're looking start off £8,500 plus.
Okay. And then warranty on the chargers.
Yeah, the great thing of Project EV, we're the only manufacturer in the UK that offers 5-year warranty. And the good thing with ourselves, we've got an SLA agreement. So therefore, any warranty that anything does go wrong, so within 24 to 48 hours, we would come down. If the chargers are online, we would already know before you guys would know in regards to fixing the issue, doing a diagnostic. If that's not possible, then we will send one of the engineers to come on site. Majority of the time, 90%, they will have a charger at the back to replace the unit. Obviously, with the bigger chargers like the DC units, it's obviously we need to order them in. But for argument's sake, if we found out that it's not working, we will try our best to obviously switch the units around.
Perfect. On the funding model for EV chargers, what percentage of revenue might the club get?
Okay, from a funding point of view, usually it's about 1%. So the funder would obviously take the whole revenue cost in and just do like a revenue share, but you're looking typical is about 1% on those ones.
Okay. Gavin, you state break even after 5 years if you purchase outright, but if you lease to buy, what do the numbers look like?
Great question. I think with that particular scenario, that will be tailored to individual clubs. What I could actually do is do a consultation and find out and do a breakdown of how it would actually look, because obviously there's different costs involved in regards to that, but we can price something up for you. That's not a problem. I could show you how it would actually work on a 5-year.
Okay, perfect. That question then was actually we've just got that come through as secretary on Zoom. So if afterwards, if you can just let us know who sent the question in, we'll make sure Gavin gets in touch to give you a bit more specifics on it. Then we've got one from Tom Nicholas, setup costs, maintenance costs.
So setup costs, as I said earlier on, in regards to like the Pro App, the back office system, the £3.75. Maintenance costs, obviously we've got the 5-year warranty, which I identified earlier on. You've got the 5-year SLA, which is a 24 to 40 hours. So if anything does go wrong, we can obviously fix the issue. However, if the club actually wants a yearly maintenance just to check the capabilities, making sure everything's working perfectly, like the cabling and obviously in a working condition, a yearly cost of that, you're looking around about £200 per charging unit.
Okay. One we've probably touched on a little bit as well, but are chargers compatible for all makes / models?
Yeah, the benefit of Project EV, all of our range leading up to 7 kilowatt all the way to 300 kilowatts, they're universal. And obviously we've got the capabilities from a CCS to a CHAdeMO. So CHAdeMO is mainly the Japanese vehicles, as well as a CCS, which is universal. So we have the capabilities to charge any vehicles.
Okay, perfect. Are there ongoing charges once EV chargers are installed?
It really up to individuals. So if you wanted to take the maintenance offering, we can that will be part additional costs, as well as the Pro App, which is the back office system, and that is about it really. There's no obviously after a 5-year lease, or if it was a 5-year overview, if they wanted to upgrade their unit, we can do so, but yeah, there's no additional cost in that apart from those two.
Perfect. And then one from Mike, how much can a club charge per hour?
It's really up to you. As I said earlier on in my presentation, it depends on the area and geographically, to see whether certain areas given rates of 35 pence per kilowatt. So that if a person down the road is charging at 30 pence, then obviously they would obviously go there. One of the benefits is also looking at ZapMaps as well. So looking at the area where ZapMaps is used for electric car drivers across the UK. So any particular location, you could actually see what they're charging at. So utilising that as an advantage.
Perfect. So I've scrolled down the questions now. Where were we? We've got a question specific to a club on this one. So on the solar system, would we be able to, Kevin, this is one for you. I'm hoping it's just quite a simple one. Copt Heath, we are looking at ground solar system of over 500 solar panels. There would be a cable run of over 500 meters. Would you be able to quote for us?
Simple answer, yes. Just need to know the dynamics, the supply size, etc., and the cost of cable back from that point. But again, if I looked at the solution, I may be able to find something more suitable, which, that's what we sort of pride ourselves on. If there's a better solution to that, rather than 500 meters, sounds like it's at least down the par 5, at least, isn't it? So it's quite a way. It's quite a way from your supply. Just wonder if there's a better area or an alternative solution to that.
Okay, Neil, I think we'll ask Kevin to get in touch with you following this one. One from Rob, which I think we did cover. Do you offer a funding model for PV that's low to zero initial capital cost?
Yeah, so the commercial side, the commercial loan, we use, you don't have to use our finance to do that. You can use your own. It's just a comparison. Any loan costs at the minute are anything from 3% right through to 7%, depending on your stability of your club and finances, deposits that you pay. Then it's tailored towards your package. So you can try and offset your savings versus what the loan would cost. So you end up at cost neutral. That's the perfect scenario. Payback periods for solar are around 5 to 7 years in your most case scenarios, based on the models I see. So that's the ultimate to get to 5 to 7 years. Obviously, you've got a 30-year time period to claim your money back, and you say you've got very little maintenance costs with solar systems. People often ask me about cleaning solar panels, etc. But good old H2O, which we seem to have plenty of in the UK, seems to do the trick. But water is the best way to keep your solar panels clean. No detergents, no chemicals, nothing. System checks every now and again just to make sure everything's right. But you have monitoring systems as well. So if it doesn't produce what we say to you as well, in year one, we'll tell you the SEM output, which is a measured gauge of how many kilowatts it should produce. And these figures come from the ONS, from all the universities in the UK. They're getting better and better at forecasting the weather, which I know is very important to golfers. So again, we can predict how many kilowatts is going to be produced from that solar system to offset your bills. That's how we give you the equation.
Okay. Now we've only got a couple of minutes left before I'm going to have our strict 40-minute cut off. So if you do have any last questions, please do pop them in the chat box, because we will come back to you on them. But we'll do a couple more. And I think this is a good one from Margaret. Our main energy use is for floodlights and clubhouse heating. If we had battery storage, would the battery need to be indoors, warm, dry, etc.?
Yes, we can couple up battery storage with your solar system. It can be inside, it can be outside, depends on your supply, what you're trying to feed. I need to understand your bills, how you use your power, when you use your power. Obviously, solar systems work throughout the daylight. Stored power throughout the daytime could offset your bills. And I know James is still on here, so he's the expert in this. He'll be after day rate, night rates for you, which are very prevalent now, to force charge batteries overnight, size of battery, size of inverter that goes with that. So what we're trying to do is push the fact that you need to buy a full price kilowatt to fourth position. So a solar system will offset your bill directly, daytime. Battery storage unit, stored power would then offset that secondary note if you're not using all that power that's produced. Force charging batteries overnight on a cheaper rate would again save you money and contribute to the battery cycle and the life. And then the fourth choice is to go back to the grid, cap in hand, and buy a full price kilowatt, which you don't want to do. So it's important to get your solar system size right, your battery storage size right, and the right deal from James.
Okay. We've had a couple more come through. I'm going to pick one, which I'm going to put to James, and then everyone else we will come back to you. There's a few which are specific, so we'll answer them specifically to you. So James, one from Chris. With gas and electric, we have fixed contracts ending in December 23, March 24, July 24. I've had many calls in January from brokers asking to extend a fixed period for 2 to 2+ years. What is the best thing to do?
That's an interesting question. It's a bit of a gamble. Some people like to renew their contract early and, take a risk of potentially the market coming down, because if you fix a contract and buy at this price, you're locked in at that price. We tend to work to a 12-month window with regards to energy contracts, just because we've got a better idea of what the market's going to do in the next kind of 3 years. If you start looking out to, that's potentially nearly 4 or 5 years away. The long-term market is very, very it's unpredictable with transportation costs, which are estimated. They're not fully released. You tend to get about 3 years worth of transportation costs. So, you know, we can have a chat about it. I can have a look at what they're offering, double check they're fully fixed for a start, and go from there. A lot of brokers do kind of like to get the foot in the door before anyone else. So that's why they're contacting you so early. We would advise probably waiting until 12 months before and then monitoring the market. But again, each situation is different. And, you know, give me a call, send me an email, and we'll go through it.
Perfect. Okay, I think we'll cut it there, because I know everyone's got busy days ahead, but we will come back to these questions in a follow-up alongside the recording the webinar today. So thank you to our 3 expert panelists this morning, and thanks everyone for tuning in. If you have any other thoughts afterwards, just pop a reply to the invite email that we sent out. We're more than happy to get in touch on a case-by-case basis. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank you.